All right, I see the red light is on, so that means we're live. Hey, this is Brent Leary and sheltering in place in Atlanta, of course. And I had a chance, I think it was about a couple of weeks ago, a buddy of mine, Jeff Brathwaite, who works at Georgia State University. And of course, we all know that a lot of the schools and universities are switching from face to face to online learning. And so he asked me if I could help him test out this new platform he was using. It's called mashme. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I was sitting literally like where I'm at right now. And he sent me a link, and he was at Georgia State setting up the room. And so I clicked the link, and it almost felt like I was actually entering a physical room. And I could see him, and I could see, this big thing, this big screen in front of him, and it had like different students, coming in. I was one of the students. And so we went through it. I was being able to raise my hand and ask questions, talk to him, talk to other online learners. And I was like, man, this is a really great platform. And just so happens that I think a week later, I was on a Twitter, and somebody, I actually talked about this with Brian Solis during one of our CRM Players events, and he tweeted it out. I guess he took a look at it and said, "Oh, this is a really cool platform. Thanks for shouting it out, Brent." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I had a great experience." My buddy at Georgia State showed me it, and then all of a sudden, all these tweets started rolling around, and then one tweet that really stood out was from Victor Sanchez here, because he is the CEO and founder of the company. So Victor, thank you for joining me, man.
No, thank you very much for taking the interest. I mean, I totally meant it. I said on my tweet, look, this is the kind of tweet chain that makes it all worth it. So I was really happy having a new fan in Atlanta and being you. It made me proud. I have to tell you.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk about what you guys do. And I love this. You call it the room of the future. We're going to talk about that.
Sure. No. So my name is Victor Sanchez. As you well said, we started the company now almost 7 years ago. We have done both video in the B2C aspect in Europe. And I was a teacher because before all of this started. And I realized of something very important. And is we had all these many things going on life education, right? And on online education. But suddenly the massive online courses came. And those massive online courses were basically promising that your newest student is a camera in front of you, and your only feedback is a red light blinking. And to be honest, I was the new teacher, of course, I was young. So they put me to record inside basically a cupboard, one class after the other. And I am not a great speaker in person, but I am a much better one when I have feedback. If my jokes are funny and you smile, if I say something brutal and you put a weird face, I want to know, because that's how humans work, right? That's how education works. So I left that experience with the objective of, I need to build something better, something that is online, is scalable. It will kind of globalize and democratize the access to education, but at a global level and in a massive scale. And that's how the Room of the Future came to be. That's how mashme was born.
All right. So tell us a little bit about the company.
So basically, mashme right now is 35 employees, mostly engineers, graphic design, and sales on that aspect. And we do WebRTC, basically web real-time communications. Everything that you see on our rooms is just a web browser. Even the massive one that you see on those video walls on that room is just a web browser. What we do is exactly that: virtual classrooms that you have on this massive video wall on the side of the teacher, and on any device on the side of the student, which is what you got to experience. And these, obviously, the coronavirus have changed every single company in the world. Now we are not only doing kind of these big video walls where you create a room where you connect to, and you have the teacher in front of that video wall. And I will show you then a couple of images that they have prepared for this. Give me just one moment, and I can show you that very quick, right? It looks something like what I have right now on my back, right? That's kind of the one of the basic installations of the room of the future. But nowadays we are actually doing much more, right? We are doing things like one screen solution. I have one right here on my living room. I call it the living room of the future, where we have these experiences. But mashme is not only that. It's high video quality, very low latency, and a massive panel where you can see actually that quality. On top of that, persistence of the rooms. We can have every single thing that you do inside the room. It's going to be there, where we do Math 101 every Tuesday. When I go back, my homework is there. Every lesson ever made on that classroom is there. And then we have almost 75 features made from teachers by teachers. Our niche is education, and we take it very seriously.
So let's walk us through this image you have, because that's exactly kind of the way that my buddy at Georgia State had it set up. So that just pretend that is the teacher, that is the professor, the guy that's standing in front of that big wall.
Correct.
All right. So this is what you're calling the room of the future. At least this is the room of the future from like an online professor kind of perspective. Talk about what we're looking at here.
So basically, you are watching at 48 4K screens connected to a very powerful computer able to render that. And in this particular instance, up to 120 students. The room is so big, I couldn't get it with my camera. So the room continues outside of the image. This is one of the largest one that we have installed in Banco Santander, which is one of the largest banks in Europe and Latin America, in their training center. You can see several things, right? And mashme has something that we call sitemaps. And you will see that we not only have faces, right? We have the chat, we have the raise hand vlog. We can see on the right the results of a living poll, and you can see this kind of simulation of a congress, or where you can see what everyone voted for with a color-coded kind of response. We have the time of the classroom and many other aspects. On the front, we have one camera that's a robotic tracking camera that can follow the teacher around. If you are like me, I really like to move when I'm on a classroom, so I want to be able to do the same thing. And if you take a look at the size of the head of the teacher, right, and the size that you see on the screens, the room was designed to have this one-to-one, face-to-face experience, right? And actually, everyone is on the first row for you on the room of the future. You know, it's kind of overwhelming the first time, which is why we put so much dedication to every single aspect of the UI to make the teachers feel empowered on, oh my God, I want to ride this horse, right? And because we don't want the teachers to be afraid of the technology. This is why you come in, you punch your code, and it's launched automatically. Our trainings are a day long. I mean, starting using this solution is very, very easy.
What are the two screens at the bottom of the big screen that
very important, right? There is two things that every teacher likes to see. The first one is themselves, just to make sure that, you know, we are looking good. And the second one is a copy of your content, right? So basically, that's your confident monitors, right? That ability to have a little bit of extra context. You can put whatever you want. And even every time that you launch the room of the future, the configuration of the different elements could be different depending on what you are doing. So let's say, for instance, I don't know, I have a remote speaker that is going to connect, right, from, I don't know, his hotel in Japan because he got stranded. So I want him on a 3x3 a square in the middle of those screens, right, and have a very high quality. And then I want my students on the sides smaller. So I can actually, in every session, I can rearrange depending on the usage. And that's actually make the platform very flexible. And one of the things that our customers like about us.
All right. Talk a little bit about how the interaction works between students and the professor, and also between students and students.
So that is one of the things that we are most proud about, right? When we take a look at the room of the future, and again, it comes in many shapes and forms, as I mentioned. But from the student perspective, we have two cameras inside the room at least, right? In our most simple installation, we have two cameras. I already talked about the camera in the front. There is also a panoramic camera in the back where you can see the whole room. And in some occasions, depending on what you have in there, and I'm gonna just real quick play a video on my back while I speak, because it's gonna allow me to show you a little bit more. This is another of our proud customers. This is from Colorado State University, and let me show you a little bit on how that room looks like. So that room, and we're going to see it in a moment, right? This room, what we see is the students are sitting down. So you have students that are going to be sitting in front of the wall and that they are treated exactly the same, right, as they would be on that pass. And Colorado State is a very good example because on the back, they have this additional row of faces that are very, very far away, right? In this case, what does those students see? They see a panoramic camera, so they can see not only the wall, but their peers and the teacher interacting with the real space. Very important, since some of our customers actually teach many different skills, not only, an MBA with an, I don't know, a boring slide deck, right? That's not the case in a lot of our customers. So as a remote student, I can see either the camera on the back, the camera on the front, both at the same time, and of course the content in the middle. Up to 75 features and applications integrated in mashme with our patented technology called the shared memory. The shared memory is basically a way to share an application at a very low latency, the same low latency that we have for the video. So up to 200 students, and the teacher, of course, can manipulate that content in real time as they are working, right? So that's how we are doing those aspects. And what our teachers are telling us about their students is that they are more engaged than ever. And I have a funny story if you have the time. I mean, sure. the very first class that we had on an MBA ever, it was in Oxford University. And there was this guy that was used to do like just webinars, right? And they show up on their pajamas because they weren't used to be on the screen on that aspect. It only happened once. Next session, Oxford is serious business. They were all suit and tie for their MBA class on that aspect. And that shows you a little bit how engaging looking at yourself like this is, right? I mean, you prepare as if you were to a physical classroom, as you said at the beginning.
So this is awesome. What does the students see? I mean, I've seen it, but how would you describe the students' perspective of this kind of online experience?
So for them, right, when you take a look at this, it's not only about the quality, it's not only about the UI and the ability to collaborate on the sessions that you have in the middle. For them, I believe it's more about the interaction, right? And you mentioned before the student-to-student experience. So one of the things that our customers do a lot is they launch the room in advance as it will happen on a regular classroom, and the teacher is not even there. And the students start collaborating, talking to each other, and even when the class is over, they do the same thing. So that ability where essentially you can have a massive, large classroom, but depending on where you are on that wall, you are talking to each other. You have we have a couple of images of real customers that they have sent us where they try to high five, over the screens because they can actually see each other. So that feeling of I'm part of something, right? I'm part of that physical space. It helps quite a bit on the engaging part. And then the other feedback that we have from students is that because of how easy it is to get in and out of the platform, right? No installations, no setups. I mean, if I'm paying, I don't know, a ton of money for my master thesis or my master classes, if for every class I need to spend 15 minutes at the beginning trying to set up the configuration, that university owes me money at the end of the year, because I lost a ton of time on that online part. So this kind of ease of use for both the teacher and the students is truly important for us.
Talk about this is, you can see the benefit right away when you look at online learning, and particularly at a situation like this where schools literally were they could make that determination that we're going to go fully online, and they were able to do, at least the company or the schools that I was looking at, they were able to make that decision pretty quickly and to turn that switch pretty quickly. What about what kind of interest are you seeing from more of the business side, like corporate America, corporate enterprises, B2B, where now a lot of states have people sheltering in place, but the kind of businesses that you can do while you're at home now are starting to put these things in place. We're seeing Zoom seems like it's taken over the world, but what about the room of the future from a more business-oriented perspective?
Absolutely. And that, I mean, we started with the edtech vertical, but I never call it a vertical, right? Because for me, any company in the world, and I mean, we have some of our customers, right? Swift, PepsiCo, banks, and things like that, KW, the real estate company, all of them have something in common, a distributed force or sales force or team of any kind, and the need to push the skills down to your organization, right? Nowadays, there is no employee of any multinational company or any American business in several states that they don't have that need of communication, right? That need of training, that need of making the skills happen for your peers. And in this case, right, where we are seeing this massive shift, there is two aspects to it, right? One is, are you secure enough? It's my data gonna be safe? Are you gonna be selling my data outside for some reason, right? So one of the things that we did from the mashme perspective is we come from Europe, right? GDPR. If you don't know what it is, you will know soon on that aspect. But the legislation on privacy, right? We took very seriously from the very beginning because we didn't have a choice on that aspect. So we are able to provide our American customers a level of security, a level of privacy, a level of encryption that other tools don't give you. So that's one of kind of the first thing that they worry about. And it's a legitimate worry. What are you going to make with my data if I use your platform to put so much sensitive information on top of that? And the second one is there is this kind of half double-edged sword, where you have this excitement of trying, and that's something that is very unique of the American market, right? I mean, everywhere else is like, I don't want to touch it, I will break it. The US is not like that, man. The US wants to try, and that's what makes the US such a special country. And this is why, I mean, I've been in love with the US since I was a little kid, right? And one of the reasons is that you are not scared of trying new things, and it shows everywhere. Right. But on the other side, right, there is that corporate fear that, oh, I need to be careful on this. So we need to provide a secure platform, but also put that excitement, right? Give it that chance to transform how your business works. And now, I mean, COVID-19 did many bad things. This is going to be in a scary time for sure, but it's going to make lasting changes on how people see education and the workplace for sure.
We'll talk about the things, the experiences that what you do with mashme. How is that different from what we're seeing with folks using a Zoom? I mean, Zoom is pretty easy to get going and use, but to me, it feels like the immersive experience that mashme has may be more suited for, of course, for like the educational industry. But what kinds of business industries do you see may be able to leverage this immersive experience that you're providing over like kind of the basic needs for video conferencing that a Zoom has?
So for me, right, if you compare it with Zoom, other than obviously the quality that you need to showcase this at the resolutions that we do it, immersion means something else for me, right? I mean, because this immersive experience of being surrounded by those faces, and even when you are outside looking at yourself inside a community of people, for me, it works very well in places where face-to-face matters, right? Most of my Zoom meetings before I was the CEO of this company, or before I did other things, most of my Zoom meetings, I could have had a call bridge, right? I mean, the face-to-face experience, it wasn't that important. But with my teachers, with my peers, I want to make lasting relationships with my peers on that classroom. With my work peers, some of them that I don't know at all, I want to build lasting relationships. So immersion for me means trust. Immersion for me means confidence. Immersion for me, it's being part of that group. So on short-term basis, and again, if you are going to have some meetings and then you're going to be back and you're going to see each other at the company, mashme wasn't designed for that. Mashme was designed for like Queen's University Belfast. They have Chinese students that have never seen that campus, have never met any of those Irish peers. But it doesn't matter. They make lasting relationships. And that's what immersion means to us, right? On that aspect. It's not about the technology. It's not about the quality. It's not about the edtech features. It's about that human connection. That's what we were trying to achieve. And immersion, right? It's in the end, it's a list of features, but it's about the human experience. That's what happens as a consequence of those technical features.
Got a comment question, I think it is from Jeff Brathwaite. So Jeff, thanks for checking it out. And he says, what are you seeing with your service now that most colleges using your platform for distance learning due to the all right, that's kind of awkwardly worded. Uh, what what are you seeing with your service now that most colleges using your platform for distance learning due to the coronavirus? I guess basically, what is this coronavirus? What does this kind of create in terms of needs for these colleges and experiences that they're looking for due to the coronavirus situation?
So funny enough, right? And again, I mean, I don't want to make kind of be very, very trivial with the situation, but to be honest, from our customers' perspective, the only thing that have changed is the amount of hours and the traffic that they put on the platform. But for them, they were used to do this. I mean, our customers have been using this platform in this way for a very long time. So for them, most of them, they just been ramping it up. I mean, in the last 2.5 weeks, we have seen a 4x multiplier. Right? We have 400% the traffic, 400% the people connecting every day to the platform. So to be honest, for them is the same that they were doing. But in terms of changes, what they are doing right now is they are virtualizing the wall experience. We have teachers at home using their TVs to have their own mini wall, right, on those aspects. But they are using the same technology. So what we are seeing is a very steep ramping up, kind of trying to get and catch up to have, instead of something online or these 4 programs are my online programs, now everything is online. And the good thing is that they were already trained, they were already familiar with the platform. So it's been very easy for us to scale them up to where they needed to be, right? And on that aspect, what we have seen is those who were already online or hybrid courses, they didn't saw that much of an aspect. And then what we are trying to do is accompany as much as we can the new teachers and the new students that are kind of stepping up onto this new world, right? But for them, it wasn't that much of a change. They were already this plan B was already their plan A. So there wasn't that much of a change, to be completely honest. Just, a 4x multiplier. But other than that, they were using it already. They knew it, right?
Well, yeah. So what possibly are some of the surprising things that you're seeing now that you have this big uptick, you have more people using it? What are the things that you're finding out about it now that you have more people using it that maybe you didn't see, or maybe it's just a surprise?
So for me, it's about the use cases, right? Once more, it's not about the technology. I could show you our massive graphics, the number of machines in the US on peak times, very geeky things. But again, for me, it's about the human stories, right? I mean, our first coronavirus interaction was almost a month ago when we had our first customer, a very small English academy in the UK, the LTDs, they are called, and they have a teacher self-isolating with the fears after one trip that he was suffering from coronavirus. He had the fever, and he wanted to keep those classes going. And we were able to implement, again, one living room of the future, right, on their home in that same day. But what we have seen is those human stories, right? I mean, for us, it's about those connectivities and those experiences. And as we are doing this kind of thing, it's about the stories of the students. One of our customers in Madrid multiplied by 8 the number of licenses, because essentially put all the courses inside that. Right? They are called IMFs. So we see a lot of a scale. And funny enough, it's all about what happens inside those classrooms. But in terms of growth, we see that the scale, being able to, as a company, it's something to be proud of from a technical standpoint and from a human standpoint, being able to give them what they need. And then what we are doing a lot is also we put together several initiatives. So one of them in Europe, where we are giving our technology for free to NGOs, some kind of non-profit organizations, things like that they were having trouble to reach on those aspects. I would like to be, a Zoom or Google or a Microsoft giving out the whole thing. Obviously, I cannot do that. We are still a small company. But what we do is we talk to our customers very, very seriously. How can we help you onto doing this? And then if you are struggling, you are a nonprofit, etc., and we can help, we definitely will, given our scale with limitations. But it's all about what they are asking from us. And again, I mean, it's been an interesting experience. We haven't slept much in the last 4 weeks, and I don't expect to sleep much in the next 4. But it's been and again, it's weird to say, right? But because I don't want mashme to be known for, oh, you kind of exploded thanks to coronavirus. We don't want to take advantage of the situation. In fact, we throw our prices. We are trying to help as much as we can, because I want to be remembered as one of the companies that behave that and try to help. And also, and I have to tell you, right? I mean, this is kind of the green light, right? The good aspect of this. But also, we are seeing terrible cases of people at home with no connection, people at home with no computers, and sadly, we cannot help those, right? I mean, here, kind of this digital abysm, right? I mean, the digital chasm between those who can connect and those who cannot. Those are the ones suffering, right? And the lesson I'm gonna take out from the future, and right now I cannot do much from here or in our position, is there is still a lot of those students, a lot of areas, even in a country like the US, where they do not have the resources they need to have an online life as you and I are having right now. So, food for thought. We are also discovering a very negative side that I would like to be able to do something about in the future, right?
Hey, if you're up for it, Jeff from Georgia State wants to come in and kind of share his experience, because I think he's one of your biggest fans.
Oh my God. I mean, yes, absolutely. And funny enough, I think this is the first time that we're going to see each other face to face. So I'm looking forward to it. Please do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I sent him the invite, so we'll see if he picks it up.
That's amazing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, what do you see after we get past this situation? How is communication, and how does this technology permanently change what we see in terms of not just learning, but just the way that folks communicate and collaborate, be it business or professional or college or personal?
So I think from now on, right, online collaboration, it's not going to be seen as an option, as the future. I mean, right now, it's going to become from being a commodity, something that it will be nice to have, to a must-have for every single organization. There is companies, there is students, there is universities, there is K-12 systems absolutely devastated for not being ready. So the first thing that is going to happen is, I think that this is not convenient anymore, right? I mean, this is necessary. You need to have it. You cannot live in 2020 and not have a system that will actually allow you to connect. And the second thing is, again, a human factor. I talk a lot about that, but I truly believe it. There is people, right, that have been trying to avoid this for years, that they still come with the physical slides to put on the physical projector of every class. And I call it, again, with a very, a very heavy heart, our dinosaur teachers, right? But those dinosaurs needs to move. And there is a dinosaur, right? Or there is a couple of dinosaurs in every vertical, in every country, in every company, in every university. And again, I mean, you cannot just, throw the meteor against the dinosaurs. What we want to do is, you have to create such an experience that for you walking into a classroom full of physical people coming to there, or for you coming into a classroom where you are alone, you still feel connected. Because if not, you are going to lose a massive percentage of the people that, for very legitimate reasons, are afraid of stepping up into this digital world. So I think we're going to see two commitments. One is, this is not a must. This is not a maybe. This is a must from now on. And the second one is, we cannot leave anyone behind, either because they don't want to or because they cannot, as I was mentioning before, in terms of connectivity, access to devices, etc. We need to do better, right? And I think those are the two lasting changes that we're going to see.
All right, so that's great. And that really, I love the way that you focus on the human side and not necessarily on the technology. I think that's great. And so joining us right now is Mr. Jeff Brathwaite, who's what is your official title over at Georgia State?
I don't have one yet.
That's the best positions, that's for sure. I mean,
he's only been there how long now?
I've only been with this division for about 2 months now, but they're still trying to figure out, what is going to be my actual position. But I'm just taking over for whatever it is that their needs are, and this right here is a big need. But I do have a question for you. It was nice.
Wait a minute, before you jump
Very
into
nice to
the
meet you, Jeff.
question,
Thank you
Jeff,
very much for coming.
just give us a little bit of the background as to why Georgia State decided to use mashme, and what are you guys using it for?
Well, I think the first part of it was that they wanted. We were building a brand new installation of a floor, and they were looking to see about some form of distance learning, anyway. But when the mashme thing came about, it was more of like, okay, you know what? Not only can we have this build out that we're doing anyway, but we can have a focal point of learning when it comes to distance learning with the mashme room, or the room of the future. And boy, did that take off. I mean, everybody and their brother was like, okay, yes, we got to do this. Once they saw it, my supervisor went to, I think it was England, somewhere, to go see it for the first time.
Wow! So they went to England.
Yeah. He took a trip to England to go see this thing.
Very first demo was in Oxford University. Actually, absolutely, I remember that demo very well.
Yeah, he traveled all the way to England, stayed there, saw the whole demo, came back and said, "We got to do this." And so,
hey, Jeff, just can you shut the blinds behind you, because I think you're like backlit. And sometimes you like just disappear in the darkness.
Let me
Let's see if that'll work. Any if you either.
If I can change it. Hold on. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah,
okay, cool.
Now you're not backlit. All right.
So he came back, was floored by the demo, and then said, "We got to do this." And then they commenced to seeing about adding it to the build out of the room. I mean, of the floor, of the actual floor. So it's become a showpiece, actually. I mean, everyone who comes there, we get visitors all the time. They're all looking in the room and saying, even before it was completely finished, the whole build out. And then by the time it got the word out, man, it was booked. It was like everybody and their brother was like, okay, we want to do this room. Just unfortunately, this whole virus thing happened, and one of our staff members, not in our building, but one of the staff members contracted it. It went towards all of the, they had to announce it. And once it announced, all the bookings went away. None of the professors who booked it wanted to use it anymore because of what had happened. So right now I'm trying my best to get one of them at least to come in and do, one of their classes, so they can say, you know what, we're still good here. We're going to have the distance learning. We're not going to, put you at risk, because it's just going to be you in the room, right? So I'm looking forward to doing my first setup, and trying the full features, with everything that it can do. I did the demo with you, but I want to see what this thing can really do. I want to take it for a spin in ways that it's supposed to be utilized. So, I mean, that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm like eager to learn and to know what its capabilities are. But unfortunately, right now we're not able to get not one professor to come in. And so I'm in tomorrow. We're 1 day a week. We're only I'm rotating now. We're working from home, but I go in tomorrow. And tomorrow I want to do another demo. I want to try and see if I can find a bunch of people to come on with me, so I can
count me in for tomorrow. I mean, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be one face on the wall.
Okay.
And I don't know if you were listening before. I'm gonna do live support actually.
Okay.
I don't know if you were listening before with Brent's permission, of course. But
sure.
Contact us, because there is a way. We are doing it right now for many customers. We are virtualizing the wall, so the remote professor can stay at home, right? And basically the room works alone inside the building, right?
Now, see, we definitely need to see that. We need to see that, because a bunch of them will not come in, but if they can utilize, the same technology while they're at home, that'll be awesome.
It's happening right now already. We can fix that for you. So give us a call, send us an email. Our support team can help you out with that. So sorry for a small support ticket result.
No.
I wanted to say that because we can help.
No. I mean, by the way, Alan was amazing. He he was top notch. He showed us all and everything that we needed to do. I mean, I can't imagine, what his workload is like right now. But I mean, he was just the coolest dude that came in and just showed us everything about the room of the future, and gave us all kinds of tips and ways that we can use
it. These goosebumps are out of proudness. I mean, it's I spent a lot of time selecting our team, right? As human resources, putting who is the next employee that you're going to put on the payroll as part of the family.
Right.
It's a very important part of what I do, right? So when I got this feedback, and that's honest feedback of someone that has a good interaction with one of our employees, I mean, it made me feel really, really proud. So thank you for that.
No problem. Not at all, man. It's a great platform, and I'm looking forward to using it. Just right now, it's just not in use.
But just quickly, Jeff, what is there hardware that they built into that room for?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Wow. I mean, when they did the build out, we had a third party vendor that did the entire build out, and it was a combination of all of these flat screens, along with the room encompassing it, and at first you kind of it's strange to the way it's all laid out and the way it looks and how you're supposed to be interacting with it. I mean, you're talking to a wall, you know what I'm saying? But the way the camera is facing you, like he said, there's one in front, there's one in back. Once you figure the experience, it becomes quite, an ability to immerse yourself. Even with you doing the demo with me with just one other person, it was great just to understand how it worked and how you can, interact with the students. So again, I want to see the full-blown version of it in its entirety, so that way we can, because we got to know all the capabilities, because hopefully as soon as we get enough of them to come back and we can convince them that it's going to be safe, I'm hopeful that we can find out all the things that we can do with it so that it can bring better awareness to both the students and the professors.
Wow, this has been great. I'm glad you were able to join and kind of relay your experiences, because I mean, me talking with Victor actually started with you because I didn't know a thing about mashme before that. So I'm glad that you were able to come on and talk about it, because that's got to make Victor feel good too, the kind of experiences you got already.
Well, see, Victor, we were supposed to see I guess see Victor that one when we were having our demo, but unfortunately something happened, and I don't know, it was a double booking or whatever, but Alan had to just do his thing, and just we figured we'd meet Victor at another time.
It did. I mean, actually, it wasn't starting right. This whole craziness. I was actually with a long meeting with a customer in Europe that was trying to figure out what am I going to do tomorrow. They closed my building, right? In Spain, actually. I mean, the police is on the street. You cannot.
You guys. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
So I mean, it's been an emergency after another. So sorry about that, but one of the things that I'm looking forward to is I haven't put yet a foot inside the building. So my first trip after the quarantine is over, is to Georgia. So I want to go. I want to go there and actually see the room.
Please come, man. It's
amazing room. Hopefully.
Hey, I want to wrap this up. So Victor, what, in a nutshell, knowing what's going on right now, knowing the interest in all this video conferencing and things like that, and most people kind of concentrating on Zoom, but for folks who need a little bit more than what Zoom offers in terms of that building an immersive experience, if you want to do a little bit more than what you can do with Zoom that you guys can offer, what's the best way to describe what you do and how you deliver on an experience that may be a bit more than what they would get with Zoom?
So basically what mashme offers is the Room of the Future platform, which based on three massively important stuff. Immersion based on technology, that high quality, low latency, very interactive experience. The second one is the platform persistence, the ability to put everything that you are doing coming back and pick it up as you left it on that digital space to keep collaborating on top of that piece. And again, Zoom and many others, right, are generic collaboration tools. This is a tool made from teachers to teachers by teachers, almost on that aspect, and it shows in every aspect of that design. So if you are looking to get that human connection that makes you love your teachers, that makes you remember that eureka moment on a classroom face to face with your peers, this is the kind of platform that you need on that piece. And again, our intention is not to take advantage absolutely on anything that is going on right now. We are here to help, and if we can, we definitely will.
And where can people go to learn more about that?
So that is www.mashme.io, and there you have absolutely everything, or at contact@syncrtc.com, which is the name of the company. We are happy to solve any of the questions. Usually we respond in minutes. Now it's taking one day or two, but please bear with us. We are very busy lately, so we are really trying to keep up.
This is great. And Jeff, thanks for jumping in and sharing your experiences.
No problem. It's a great product, man. I'm looking forward to using it more.
Thank you, Jeff. Seriously, thank you very much and thank you, Brent, for making this happen and kind of putting the spotlight on mashme. It's been a pleasure. And again, I mean, I'm going to remember this for a while. Thank you for this.
Thank you.